All right, everybody, we are live. I am Bonnie Donahue, and I am so excited to be here with you. We are doing this broadcast live on my Essential Oils for Moms Facebook page. I am a mom of 4. I'm a diamond in doTERRA, and I love, love, love helping other moms. That is my main mission, and I'm trying to create, or I am creating, a community of moms that are helping other moms, right? So we're trying to fill up moms' tanks, right? And I'm helping them to feel their best so they can give their best to others. And so every week I've been sharing these healthy mom chats with you guys. Sometimes they're really huge transformations. Like last week we had Erin on, and she lost 120 pounds and completely changed her life. And then we had a story about head tension, and someone was dealing with horrible, head tension for so many years, and then everything in between. And so I'm really excited to bring you today's speaker and one of my really good friends, and to share her story, because I think it's so relatable to so many moms. And that's what I'm trying to do, is bring value, bring stories. Some are going to be extreme, and some are going to be like the everyday stories, and what we could do to kind of help empower other moms, and we can just like learn from each other. I think moms are the best teachers to other moms, right? Because we're the ones going through it. And actually just saw this on, I don't remember where I saw this, but motherhood is like going for a walk in a park, right? But it's Jurassic Park that we're like walking through sometimes with the kids and all the stuff that's, going on with them and the emotions and everything in between. So it's so important that we can kind of take care of ourselves and our families. So today's episode of the Healthy Mom Chat is with my really good friend, Megan Gray, and she is also a mom of 4. So together we have 8 kids. I feel like we've tackled almost everything so far. And she's a blogger at Balancing Home, and that's how I knew her first. And she has a unique story when she's going to share kind of like her life prior to doTERRA and using more natural solutions in her home, and kind of what happened with her kids. And then when she decided to work on herself, she has a unique story too that I'm just like so excited. I've been trying to nail her down for a long time now to get her on here. And if you guys have seen, I did some story time talks last year, and I featured Megan and how she was a teacher, and now she's a stay-at-home mom and blogger, and she's a doTERRA advocate. And so she has a great story too, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper on her health story and her kids' health story. And feel free to ask questions, and I'm just going to turn it over to Megan. So Megan, thank you so much for getting on here and for opening up and sharing. And I know you're going to help so many other moms that are just like you out there.
Hi, Bonnie. So I guess just starting like growing up, I grew up an athlete. So I did a lot of sports and was very active. And so I think I thought of myself as being well, if that makes sense. And then as I got older and was less active and started having kids, the concept of health kind of widened for me, that it was more than just being able to run, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So at first, when I first started in motherhood, I don't know that I may have even rolled my eyes at a lot of things, like having to do with what some people might call like the woo-woo stuff. Like I just figured we were fine, and I didn't have any experience personally to tell me that there was another way. And there was nobody really close to me that was diving into, different ways of dealing with their wellness. And as a blogger, I started to see essential oils and stuff popping up on blogs, and I'd kind of just ignore it. Like I didn't understand why I would need essential oils. I felt like a lot of people had these really big health stories, and I was like, well, we're fine. So I don't need them because we don't have, this, and this. So it really wasn't until you called me, and then, we got the essential oils. And at first I didn't know what we were going to use them for. I didn't have a clear direction. I had used 1 drop of peppermint And it blew my mind. It like opened up my airways and it woke me up. And I was like, if that's one drop of peppermint, like maybe there's something to these oils, you know? So it's like we got started and we just started with like, you know, the little things, those things like sleep. When you're a mom and you have 4 kids and you just want them to rest. So I think our first real big win with doTERRA that I was like with the kids was Deep Blue Rub, which is kind of like not what you would probably think, but sorry, I have to adjust myself. But he was 3 at the time, my son Hudson, and he would get the worst growing pains. And he would wake up and he would cry and cry and cry for like ever. It would go on for over an hour in the middle of the night, and he would say, "Make it go away, Mommy, it hurts so bad." And I would rub, you know, my husband and I would each take a leg and we'd rub it and we tried everything. And it would just eventually, he'd fall back to sleep an hour or so later. And so after I started with doTERRA and I had that Deep Blue Rub, I remember somebody saying you could use it for growing pains. And so he woke up crying and I said to my husband, "Go get the Deep Blue." And we rubbed it on his legs and he stopped crying. He goes, "That smells." And I was like, "But do your legs still hurt?" He goes, "No." And he rolled over and he went to sleep. And it was like a 5-minute episode when it had been like an hour episode before. And it was the coolest feeling as a mom to be like, I did that. Like instead of feeling hopeless or helpless, I had a solution that I could like count on, that I knew was safe for my kids. Because that's the other hard part when you're dealing with kids, is knowing some things maybe you might be willing to do for yourself, like you don't want to give to them.
Right.
And so then it was kind of just eye-opening how powerful they were. And we just started pulling them into our life. And my kids now are like, you know, they want the Digestion for their tummy, and they want the Serenity and their diffusers for sleep. And they, you know, we do affirmations every morning on the way to school, which, you know, they write them. We wrote them out. My kids don't need them anymore. They've memorized them, but they can read them. So my older 2, you know, one just turned 10 and the other one's 7. They take turns and they read the affirmations every morning. And so for us, the reason I started the affirmations was I just wanted to kind of like ground our day in something positive, because when we were trying to get out the door, trying to get to school, it can get really wrapped up in get your backpack, wear your shoes. I said, get in the car, like, and then to take that negative energy all the way to school, and I'd send them off to school and I'd feel like, oh, I wish I could run back in there and squeeze them. You know, that's not the way I wanted it to end. So we decided to do the affirmations as just a way of really putting positive energy into like our lives to start our day, and just kind of giving them that confidence. And so
Love that.
we read them and it changes everything, because no matter what happens before we get in the car, they know to grab the affirmations. And once you start saying, I am strong, I am loved, I am, you know, all these things, it's kind of hard to, after that, go back to being crabby. So we just naturally then go into conversation and really start our day off well. And then to amplify that, we've got the kids line now. And so they're passing around the roller bottles, and they're rubbing those on with the affirmations. And now we have a car diffuser. And I'm such a geek now. I've gone off the deep end. So we've got like diffuser going, and we're doing affirmations, and we're rubbing oils on. But I feel like our time is just so limited, and we can get so busy. And I feel like if I can just take a few minutes at a few key parts of my day and really like connect with the kids and have a positive experience, it can make like the whole day feel good. So needless to say, oils have just become so part of our life. And we, from everything you could think of, we just started reaching for them, and they worked. So, you know, we've had my daughter's eczema. We did vitamin E and lavender on her dry spots, and we switched the On Guard hand soap, and she went from cracked, like patchy, bleeding hands like 2 winters ago to nothing last winter.
This is second year. Sorry, I'm just sitting on my side. But this is second year using doTERRA.
Yes, this September was year 2. And so in the last 2 years, I mean, we went from feeling like we weren't sure how these were going to fit into our life to like, how did we ever live without these? And so from just daily immune support, where we're rubbing oils on the kids, like we use On Guard, or now there's the new Stronger from the kids collection that we use.
Love those.
And we use like the On Guard beadlets. If they're getting run down, we make a flu bomb. So we mix up a roller bottle and we rub it on their spine and on their feet so that they can beat whatever is coming at them. Man, when we first started with oils, Eleanor came into our bed crying that her ears hurt. I mean, she was hysterical, and she said she wanted us to take her to the hospital. It's like 1 a.m, and I'm like, well, let's just try this first. And so we did lavender and melaleuca around her ears and rubbed all around with coconut oil. And she went back to bed, and she woke up the next morning and she said that the ear pain was gone, and that was the end of it. If need be, we would have taken her in, but it's so awesome to save ourselves a copay, a trip to the doctor, picking up germs at the doctor, finding babysitters, rescheduling everything when I could, like, 50 cents of lavender and melaleuca on her ears, and that was it.
I've heard so many moms talk about those 2 oils, and if they need an extra stronger one, like adding in basil, around the ear for ear discomfort. Like that's one of the top things that moms use, or they just need to have it in their back pocket to pull out if they experience that.
Yes. If my kids were to rank their oils, because they've talked about this, like my 5-year-old now, Hudson, his favorite oil is wild orange. And he is my kid that just feels real, real big. And he doesn't always know how to process those feelings. And sometimes it can be a little hard to manage. And sometimes they come out more as anger. And it's like, it's okay to say you're hurt, like you don't. And so wild orange is an oil that he will even ask for, that he craves. And when he is kind of in like one of those moods and we put it on his hands and he breathes it in, he's just like, yeah. You see like the smile come across his face and just the way it relaxes him. And that's his favorite oil. And then Deep Blue is his second favorite oil because of his growing pains.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm going to breathe this in right now as we're talking.
It's magical.
Put your water, breathe it in.
I enrolled somebody at a vendor fair because she was smelling my wild orange the whole time. And she said, what is that? I need this in my life. And that's how she got started with oils. It's an incredible one. And it's $10 wholesale. So it's like.
I love it. I love it. Oh, it's okay. So one other thing I want you to talk about, and then I want you to talk about yourself, is you said, I think, so this is the second year, so even your first year after using the oils, didn't your kids, weren't they like the healthiest throughout the whole winter than ever before?
Yes, we had like such a, because I felt like my kids would be sick always. That's what it would feel like. I mean, there's 4 of them, so it's like they just took turns, and it
and it
just would go on forever. And then there's only so much you can do, and it's like, I guess I'll give you Tylenol. I don't know what else to do. Like, you need to sleep, you don't feel well, and I didn't know what else to do. And then now it's just so different because we have so many tools. So we are much more well as a whole. And then when we are run down, it's like, I know I have things to reach for that are going to support your body so that you, like, this doesn't last for 2 weeks. And, like, you're not as miserable as you would be. And I think for, like, the first year, we didn't even have, they didn't miss school. We didn't have, like, anything. So anything we couldn't handle, there was ear pain, we put stuff on it, that was it. So as a mother, I think the biggest thing is just feeling so empowered, and then like listening to my kids talk about oils or use oils or share oils with their friends. Like, you know, they love lavender for mosquito bites, and they were like sharing it with a friend. And he's like, whoa, it really worked. They're like, yeah, oils do all kinds of things. And I'm just like, how cool is it that they're growing up in a world where this is their norm? Like their norm is to reach for these oils to like solve their problems. And I just feel like that's so empowering for them, and it's so empowering for me as a mom to know I have solutions and to know I'm giving them that gift.
Absolutely. So now I want you to share, it's a little bit more personal, but I know 100% that other moms are going to relate. So thank you for sharing. So in the beginning, you took the supplements, right? And so for the people that are new or haven't tried the supplements, it's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack, is like doTERRA's like foundation. That's the foundational pack that you started on. So walk us through what happened when you got this in your kit and you're like, well, now what, right? You started taking it. Yeah. And then when you're like, I don't know if I need to take these anymore. And then what happened?
Yeah. So I got them right with my, with my kit. They were one of the first products I started with. And
kit. So she went all in. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with the oils, but I will have all of them now.
I wanted to have all of them so that whatever I wanted to do with them, I would have the oils. So I was just weaning my fourth child. So I was just finishing up a year of breastfeeding. So who knows what's going on with hormones in your body at that point. Mm-hmm. And I had just started with doTERRA, and those supplements came. Prior to that, I would take like a prenatal when I was pregnant, but I wasn't really a big supplement taker. And I don't think I would have ever purchased them like separately. Been like, oh, I need to get vitamins and supplements. But since I had them, I decided I would take them. And it was a time in which I was just weaning, and I had had 2 back-to-back trips. I had been on planes. Everyone in my family got sick. And I had just, the very first product I got after visiting doTERRA's headquarters, they sent me home with the supplements. And so I'd started the supplements before I'd even got my oils, actually. So my family hadn't used oils. Nobody had anything yet, but I had those supplements. And so I had started them. And I came home, and after flying and being on planes and everyone in my family being sick, I didn't get sick. And I'm like, I always get sick. And so I decided it must be the vitamins. But the other thing that I noticed is, in general, it wasn't what I would call drastic, or at least at the time, like looking back, I don't remember thinking, holy moly, but I remember in general just feeling more steady, like less emotional, less roller coastery. I joke with my husband, I said, this must be how you feel all the time. He's like this, and I'm like, woo! And so I remember
I think every woman can relate, yeah.
But overall, just more steady, like calmed, better energy. And I basically took them religiously for like ever, a year, I don't know. And I think when you get used to feeling a certain way, you don't even notice that you could feel somewhere else, I guess. Like that was my norm, and I took them. And then this last spring, I had 2 back-to-back trips. I had a little lapse in my supplements, like in receiving them. So, and then I, ran out, and I never opened a new pack. And then I went on 2 back-to-back trips, one for blogging and then one for doTERRA. And I just got out of the habit of taking them. And it was like one of those things that it's so silly because it's so easy to take them, but I just got out of the habit of doing it. And then I wasn't aware of how I felt, and I wasn't aware that things had changed till Kate Spade committed suicide, and everybody started talking about mental health. And there was a woman who started talking about depression, and there was just something about the way that she talked about it that I thought, maybe like it's not all good here, because I thought I had to feel really sad to have something be wrong, and I didn't feel sad, but I had in the course of like 3 months put on like 20 pounds. I had like avoided like your phone calls and just general social interaction with people. I was having like a glass or two of wine, but let's be honest, it's a large glass, and that's like, I don't know exactly like how it happened, but all of a sudden that woman said something, and I said, I need to make changes. Somehow I have like dropped way below where I normally am. And so I talked to my husband about it. And like the first thing I knew I needed to do was get back on the supplements. It's like, I need to get back on those supplements. I need to feel like myself again. And it's funny because I even did research, and there's lots of studies about how when certain nutrients and omegas and all those things are missing, that it really can affect your mood. And that's real. And so I knew, like, I never was diagnosed with anything, but I knew that if I went on supplements and I didn't feel better, then, you know, we're going to take the next step and we're going to do more. But I went back on the supplements, and it's like that, started feeling like myself again. And then like lost the 20 pounds I gained, like, you know, life is back to normal, but it really made me realize that I was taking for granted how those supplements were making me feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I just know that I will never stop taking them.
Right.
My husband takes them, like, my mom takes them, like, anyone I can convince to give them a try.
Right. Well, because you know how you feel with them and without them.
Yeah. It's incredible. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't experienced it.
Right.
And that's why I had to research stuff, because I'm like, that doesn't make sense. How can just this one thing have such an impact? And so I did these, you know, was looking at these studies, and I'm like, wow, it's real.
Yeah. Wow. So first, thank you for sharing, because other moms are out there, you know, obviously we're never diagnosing, treating, or curing, never, right? So super, like, we're going to just put that out there and be compliant and everything. But if you know you're not feeling the best, start with taking care of yourself. You know, a lot of times it is not feeding your body the right nutrients, like what you said. And another thing that I liked what you said it's so simple to take your vitamins or your supplements, right? But the things that are so easy to do are also easy to not do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just getting in that habit. So let me ask you this. How do you trigger your habits now? Like, what is your routine of taking your supplements? Do you have them on the counter? Like, do you like have them next to your water? So like, how do you keep that routine going so you don't fall off again?
I keep them in the cabinet, like next to the microwave in the kitchen, by like the coffee and the stuff I do in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so they're the first thing I take them after I eat, get something in my stomach.
Right.
But then, so they're like one of the first things I do with food in the morning.
Okay.
So I keep them in the kitchen. And my husband's the opposite of me. He's like, he cannot remember to take them in the morning, but he keeps them in the medicine cabinet next to his toothbrush. And when he brushes his teeth, he takes them at night. And I'm like, but they give you energy. Like, why won't you take them in the morning? He's like, I tried taking them in the morning and I just forgot. So I take them at night now. I'm like, all right, whatever works.
You know, that's funny. And so I will say that because I actually have received, not a lot, but I've received comments that from women, if they do take them at night, it's harder to fall asleep. Not because there's caffeine in it, there's not. It gives your body the energy for your body to do what it's supposed to do. And your body's supposed to have energy, right? Natural energy. And so I always say break them up, you know, if you can in the morning, and then like half of the dose in the morning and then half the dose in the afternoon. So for people who don't know, there are 12 supplements. You have, so you'd be taking, there's 3 supplements, 4 of each. So you take 2 of each in the morning and 2 of each in the afternoon. I'm one of those people that I take them all at one time because I don't want to forget. And I usually, for breakfast, I'll do like the bulletproof coffee or something. And so I won't take them until lunch. And then I just take them all at the same time. You have to kind of figure out what works best for you. But Yeah, mine are in my cabinet. It's a daily thing. I just don't miss, my kids' supplements there, my husband's, they're all there, so we don't miss it.
And the other thing about the supplements that, since we got on the topic of them, that I just feel like I have to share, if you are not someone who's I have so many stories that aren't my own though, that I could tell you about how amazing these supplements are. But the thing to know is that they have a 30-day money back guarantee. Like doTERRA is that sure that you're going to love them.
Mm-hmm.
Your money back if you don't. So it's kind of like a really risk-free way of seeing how it affects you and seeing if it's worth it for you.
Awesome. And for the people that are listening live or the replay, I'd love to hear your stories. So comment if you're taking the supplements, what you've seen, what kind of energy you're having. And we've had so many different stories. And so, yeah, it is something that people don't talk about, especially when it comes to your own feeling and self-worth and, like what you said, just feeling good and out of that funk. A lot of it just getting in those habits.
It's hard to admit, like, you're in a funk. It's like,
yeah.
But I think that when we talk about it, I'm thankful that someone else talked about it, because it made me realize that just because I'm not sad, it doesn't, to me, the idea of when people would talk about mental health, it somehow, in my head, I figured you had to be sad. And if I wasn't sad, then like things were fine.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, they weren't.
Yeah, that's huge. So thank you, Megan. This is perfect. Like, I wanted to keep it under a half hour, so this is perfect. If you want to learn more, if you want to follow Megan, tell them all your social media.
I am balancing home on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Pinterest, www.balancinghome.com for my blog, Facebook's Balancing Home, and then I do have an essential oil group that is Explore Essential Oils.
And another thing, I'll just give you a quick plug, Megan, because she's also really good at home organizing and home decor and printables and like DIY. She also has this amazing bath bomb recipe that she's pretty famous for with a printable. And so go check out her blog if you just want some inspiration. That's like one of the ways that I quickly became obsessed with Megan, because I'm like, oh, wow, look at all this cuteness, So I suggest you go check out her blog, if anything else. And if her story touched you in a way, maybe give her a comment or message her and, share this with anyone that you think would benefit. So please, we want to just help as many women as possible to feel their best so they can give their best. That's what we're all about. So thank you so much, Megan. Thank you to everyone who's listening and the replay. And this will be live. This will stay on the Facebook page, Essential Oils for Moms. I'm also uploading it to my YouTube channel, Bonnie Donahue. So subscribe there. And I'm also going to be putting them into a podcast. So that is coming soon. I'm getting my library set right now. Have a great day, everybody. And I will see you guys next week. All right, bye.